Hi, I'm Mary Jacobs. My 2-3 year trying to get the media to pay attention to the hypocrisy and corruption in Los Angeles finally came to fruition in, believe it or not, Union Rescue Mission in September, around September 19, 2019, when Ben Carson, the head of the Housing and Urban Development, came for a tour of the homeless issue in LA, in San Diego, and in San Francisco. I never expected within less than a year and a half that I would go from being a landlady to becoming a bag lady, and now, like my first night sleeping in a shelter, there was Ben Carson. It was incredible. It was because I feel I was helping homeless people. The people in the neighborhood noticed that there were people coming and going in my house, and they made allegations that it was gangsters, but it really was people that had nowhere else to go. Maybe in the past I had done something with that kind of an activity, but it was not. We were a nuisance because we were helping homeless people. That's the bottom line. And people came that were living in vans that were, not at all in any way, shape, or form part of some type of gangster issue. There were people from opposing gangs. If this was really a gang house, why would they all be in the same house? This was a place where people could get a shower, get some food, watch TV, sleep on the couch. Some of them slept on the floor in what used to be my kitchen. There were 2 people to each room, sometimes more, because there was nowhere else for them to go. I remember going to the Board of Supervisors meeting, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors meeting, and basically crying and saying, look, I have an old Lincoln, and there's a couple and a young guy fighting over the back seat of my Lincoln. And what was the answer to this problem? I had to have my Lincoln towed away. I told them, please, don't make C&R Auto Shop leave. It's the engine that keeps this thing going. C&R Auto Shop at 506 North Brannock was a staple of East LA for 55 years. They could have stayed, but the county had their eyes on that property, and so they forced them to leave after 8 years of not being in compliance with zoning laws. Okay? 8 years it took. Why? I don't know why exactly, but there are some people who think they just want to steal my property. And guess what? They spent over $183,000 on legal fees that I have to pay so they can basically steal my house. If I was a murderer, I would get a free legal service to fight these people, but I got no free services. No, I have to be my own lawyer. $183,000, about $100,000 to pay for $30,000 of a security guard, plus another $66,000 for 2 armed security guards.
Mary, explain what a receiver is, how this all happens.
A receiver is a fancy word for property theft.
What the court does.
The court appoints a receiver to confiscate your property, pay for people to leave. They pay $30,000. They pay you, they make sure you don't go back in your house because there's code violations. Instead of just giving a good loan for me so I could fix the property with HUD money because it's a blighted area, or maybe Proposition H or Measure H money because I was helping homeless people. Instead of giving government tax money to people who are helping solve the homeless issue, they created new homeless people. The 20 people that I was helping, maybe 30 if you count the ones that were living outside and just taking the showers and taking a nap during the day, they're back in the street, and so am I. And my husband was taken out of his home, and he ended up getting severe dementia and became a serious wanderer, was a missing person for 6 times because he was trying to go back home. The cruelty, it's unconstitutional to me. This is cruel and unusual punishment for helping homeless people. And that's what this is. I don't see it as anything else. If I wasn't helping homeless people and charging an arm and a leg for rent, I would have had the money to pay for the permits. I'd have the money to pay for the expensive fixings that needed to be done. But there was a lien on my property. One was for $480,000, another was for $600,000. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't have gotten an equity loan. But I knew that this was helping the community, but nobody really cared. What they really cared about was making sure that somebody without the proper authoritative, extra cushiony expenses, like somebody that wasn't connected to the government couldn't help people in a small way.
And by law, the judge and receiver are demanded to act in a rapid manner. In fact, we have case law that states if they're going to destroy it because it's no good within 3 or 4 months, to protect as much equity value for the property owner, that the county has put the property in a receivership. Am I not correct, Mary?
Yes, but the receivership started in August. It's over a year now.
Okay, so that's my point. By law, the receiver should have been able to figure it out. And when you see the billing on this that will be put up online, and we have, nobody acted in any kind of manner except in order to take every bit of asset from this property and put this former property owner on the street. And we have found that the county done this not just to Mary and Rollin, but as pattern and practice to many other people. Am I correct, Mary?
Right. There's a hotel owner in San Diego named Bill Herrera. He was, feeling compassion, which is not allowed, obviously, in California. And he felt compassion for some of the homeless people. So if there were empty rooms in his hotel, he would let them live in his hotel. The neighbors complained, and he became received by the same receiver that I was received with, and almost lost his whole property. And they were joking about another man named Jerry Cox that had $8,000, maybe $7,000 or $8,000 worth of problems to fix with a fence at his ranch near Yosemite. The receiver came in, spent $75,000 to fix the same problem, and almost lost his ranch. I don't know. I've lost contact with them, but I'm not the only victim. You don't have to even be old.
In fact,
you have to you just have to be compassionate to make sure that you think you're helping the world by letting somebody sleep on your couch and making sure that some of those people sleeping in the street are not in the street, and your punishment is to become almost the same.
And the county attorney presented to the judge in this case that the receiver had overbilled a minimum of $30,000.
Oh, yes.
And it's so obvious. So when I went there one day, Mary's supposed to be paying for full-time security, and I'm yelling for somebody on that property to go meet Mary there to get some of her goods with my van. And for 15 minutes, their cars are there, the gates are wide open, and I got a loud voice. And nobody answered nothing. And they tried to deny it. I mean, this is just a scam. It's one thing to make people fix their property, okay?
Yeah.
But not to take it from them if there's another way. And there are plenty of HUD programs. Let's say Mary's property was worth, all junked out, $600 grand. $800 to $900 fixed up because it's a large corner piece of property next to a brand new charter school. And by the way, because I got lost going to find her property, right, to go do this, to pick the stuff up, I found a guy, and he said, well, let me take you over there. And on the way over, he goes, all of us in this area have recently received a letter that they want to come and take all of our property for a new one of their projects. So basically it looks like Marion Rollins' property was the prime controlling corner right there in this whole section of property they want to take.
Yeah, well,
it's about making money.
I don't know how much it's worth. We're trying to find that out. October 30th, there's going to be another hearing to see what the status is. But so far, we have had no bids to buy the property. And I do know, though, we had 5 buildings and 4 that have been demolished at an expense of about $70,000 or $80,000. And had that been done instead of, you know, all the legal stuff, the legal is twice as much as what it costs.
Between the receiver fees and the so-called security fees.
And the money to have the people move, $30,000 for people that had already been evicted, and I already gave them 3 free months of rent to save up to move. I had to give them $30,000 to move. I said, well, where's my $30,000 to move, or even 20? And we ran out of my own money. I mean, I used their money, so-called their money, is actually money sucked out of my equity. And so basically, it's almost $400,000, maybe more, that they spent on a $70,000 problem over a year. And during that year, I have gone from one horrible lifestyle to another in transitional housing with people that were criminals and, you know, ex-criminals.
And we have the case law that they were to demolish within 4 months.
Well, yeah.
It's from Santa Monica, even in this city, okay?
Anyway,
I have that case
tell
law.
them what the timeline is.
I'm just saying, the judge and the receiver, if we're a nation of laws, which is the stuff that we're all caught up in, is that these people don't follow the law, don't follow the case law as it's supposed to be. Because if they had, you'd have paid 4 months of receiver, 4 months of security. They'd have demolished the buildings for the 80, taken them away. Now you got a clean piece of property with a building on it that isn't bad, right?
But the security was not even approved of by the judge. When the judge found out,
but you're
the judge did not
in charge, though.
The receiver, Mark Adams, took it upon himself to hire 2 armed guards with their bathroom for $66,000 for 2 months. And he was not given that permission. When the judge found out, he was astounded, and he reduced it to 1 armed guard. And the reality is, they were guarding something that was going to be demolished anyway. And after the judge took all the guards away, all the good that it didn't work anyway. Anyway, the long and the short of it is, no good deed goes unpunished, right? So the homeless problem is now, I'm getting to learn about it in the reality of it. You know, I'm not just observer. I'm an actual homeless person now. Thank you so much, receiver. Thank you so much. I thought it was cruel and unusual punishment for code violators to end up homeless, but apparently I'm wrong. This is America. We have no private property rights, apparently. We have very little compassion for homeowners that try to do the right thing by opening up their homes, and we have absolutely nothing but wasted money when we give out a little piece of our tax. You know, when we buy something, we pay taxes for that Measure H, the $1.2 billion to fix the homeless problem. Well, when the county tries to fix the homeless problem, they buy apartments for $450,000 a piece, and they put 1 or 2 people in there. When I was fixing the homeless problem, I would have been happy to get $300 per person. But there's a lot of fat in that, you know. When they help you,
here's the facts of life, people. The county brags about, and let's not forget the county has $1.5 billion in bonds, and they have a joint powers authority, a JPA, with the city on the homeless, okay? And they're tied up with the state because the state has another $5 billion for the homeless. So let's say take all of this money together along with the other funds that the county and the city put in. It's a huge amount of money. So the county brags about spending $1.7 billion over 6 years to build 3,362 units. That's $505,686 each. I went, this is a little outrageous. So those people that, Jimmy Carter and Habitat for Humanity use, where they take the old shipping containers, the stuff that'll take an earthquake or anything. Well, they take those and they rehab them and make houses out of them that you can't beat up for nothing. Even G's can't beat those things up. Now, I got a bid from Giant Containers for $65,000. When you divide $65,000 into $1.7 billion, we'd had 26,700 homeless off the street, not 3,362. Now, where Mary's at, down at the Midnight Mission...
No, it's the Union Rescue.
The Union Rescue Mission?
Midnight is for men.
Okay, well, sorry. That man is so dedicated, he's even lost one of his legs to the flesh-eating virus. You know, the stuff where they cut you off or it's going to kill you because they can't stop it? And he's still working on it down there. Now, that man would be a lot less busy if these people weren't porking that money to fill up their friends' pockets, because that's the only reason the county doesn't want to change from building from $300,000 to $600,000 per unit, which is a real nice condo, to give it somebody a nice place to live, a house. For a lot of people for the same amount of money.
Yeah.
It's all apart. When you got a fraudulent person, they're going to be fraudulent across the board, wouldn't you think, Mary?
Yeah.
And that's what we're running into.
What I'd like to do is tell whoever's listening how wonderful the Union Rescue Mission is. I mean, it's a godsend, and they are really wonderful. I guess they... Tell
them it was your first night.
My first night, I come out, and there's all the cameras, and there's Ben Carson. Yep. Like, wow, this is a godsend. I've been trying to get all these TV shows and news